muy importante dentro del mundo de mercadeo y también de publicidad para los publicistas que están aquí, porque es primero que publicista, es también caricaturista, tratando para marcas como libros, lo que son sus caricaturas icónicas, las personas que decidieron las cosas que podrán ver. Y eso es hablar sobre lo que es básicamente the top. Hacer liberación con ustedes dentro de lo que es el marketing 1 a 1, hablándoles sobre qué pasa luego de que sales de la universidad y cómo va a ser cuando el marketing 1 a 1 y cómo se lo va a hacer. Entonces, si pudieran, por favor, bajar la voz, soy una persona muy importante que no está muy lejos para hablar con ustedes, por favor, mantengan el orden, manéjense, como dice Moisés. Y nada, vamos a iniciar. Si alguien tiene una pregunta sobre el perfil, no. Vamos a iniciar.
I hope everybody here speaks English. I don't speak any Spanish at all. You know, my fiance is Dominican. Yeah. Okay. Just out of interest, who here knows my work? Anybody? States. My name is Hugh Macleod, and my address is gabenboy.com. That's me, Macleod, that's Scottish. Wow, these slides are all my background. It goes back to 1998 in New York City. I was an English major at school, and I spent some time being an advertising executive in America, a middle rank advertising executive. And I wasn't very good at it. I found myself working in a large advertising agency with 5 bosses between me and the CEO. And then my client, the guy I work with as a client, he had about 5 bosses. So that was about 30,000 reasons to spend every minute of the day paranoid. And actually, I got the other. And so it's like what I'd call a pretty typical marketing job for a guy who just been like out of school for like 5 years. And I'm in New York City, which back then was probably the greatest city in the world. Lots of Dominicanos in New York City. Yeah. And I'm kind of going, oh my God, I'm stuck in this big glass building working with a man. What on earth am I going to do? And my answer came from a very unexpected place. Business cards. What I used to do is after work, I got these blank business cards made, and then I have my pens, and I go to bars and restaurants and cafes after work and draw pictures on blank business cards, just because it was easier than painting or sculpture or filmmaking or cheap and easy. And that's me taking a reason. I still do it. Here I am, sitting there drawing on the back of business cards. And that was it. So I was living in New York 15 years ago. There's a cartoon. I drew this one about Hurricane Sandy. It just says, when you're the greatest city in the world, you recover from this shit quickly. Which is like, yeah, New York, all the way. And then over the next couple of years, I did thousands of them. I did up until about 2001, 2002, I did about 5,000 of them. I was doing a couple of thousand of them every year. And I put them in these little wallets. And that was my thing. So, this is what I did when I first got to New York, the big city. It says, I don't have friends, I have New York. Because when I go to New York, I'm all by myself. I was in the greatest city in the world. So I can't hear you talk so much. Yeah. And I wrote this kind of abstract drawing on the back of a business card that said, I'm in New York, I don't have any friends, but I'm here, so that's the adventure. This is another one. This after I've been in New York for a couple of years, the dream had vanished. Unfortunately, the lifestyle still remained. In other words, I kind of lost track of what I was doing there. I knew I came to New York for a reason, but it was expensive and I was tired and I wasn't making any money, but I was still doing all the same old bad things, hanging out at bars and going to parties. This one my father called my autobiography. This guy's going, I can't decide what I want to be, a millionaire or an artist. And then his girlfriend says, can't you just compromise? Become a millionaire artist or something. Because I think that's what we all want. We want to be rich and successful, but we also want to be artists in our own way. Here's one about being in New York drinking too much. You know, a typical advertising situation is like, living a complete lie wouldn't have been so bad if I could have just got more people to believe it. In other words, my life is full of shit, but hey, as long as people believe me, that's okay. And I think that's a paradox of like most marketing people, is that most marketing jobs kind of suck. Sorry. I know you got marketing degrees, you go, oh my God, I'm going to graduate in like a year. What if my life sucks? Yeah, I know, what if it does? What if your life sucks? And you have to tell your parents, hey parents, dad, mom, all that money you gave me to go to marketing school at college, it was a waste of money. I want to kill myself. I'm stuck in a job I hate. Anyways, this is what I did. This is about romantic love. The three little words in descending order of importance. I love you. Love. It's just changed. Yes, it has. That's my fiance. This one I wrote with a female. I can't hear you. This one I wrote for typical. I felt like a young woman working in New York, going to all the parties, surrounded by people all the time. Suddenly, her whole life made complete sense to her. Oh my God. Hey mom, you know all that money you spent on college? Yeah, well, I'm fucked right now. And all the money you spent to get me here, well, I don't want to be here. I think the situation a lot of people have in their 20s. It's normal. This one is about relationships in New York. I'm not scared of commitment. I'm scared of you. Commitment doesn't scare me. You scare me. I know we're dating, but can I break up with you now? Do you mind? Do you mind? I know the sex is great, but can I break up with you? Come on. Can we just like be friends and like not see each other? Maybe? Can we do that? Anyways, make a long story short. All the cartoons and all my thoughts about marketing and creativity ended up in a book called Ignora Everybody. And it became a bestseller in the States. And there's a little picture of somebody holding a business card. That became my medium. But, you know, about the same time as I entered no, not so much the time at the end of the workforce. About the same time I got sick of my marketing job, the internet came along. And after years of drawing cartoons and sending my cartoons off to magazines and being rejected, nobody liked my stuff, all of a sudden, along comes the internet, and for media, cheap, easy, global. I don't have to spend any money. I have people in the Dominican Republic or China or South America or Europe or France or Germany or Canada reading my stuff, it cost me nothing. Why do I need to work for a magazine? Why do I need a publishing contract? You know? So what I started doing is I started publishing all my cartoons on the internet. And it went crazy. I became what's called internet famous, which is about, well, you know, it's interesting for about a week, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. And so there was drawing cartoons about relationships, you know, sex and drugs and rock and roll, but how long do you do that for? And then one day I was in a train station in England. My mother was in England and visiting her. I used this little doodle about marketing, and it just said, the market for something to believe in is infinite. And I wanted to read that. Because that's what we all want, isn't it? That's what we all want with products. We all want to work in companies that we believe in. We all want to buy products that we believe in. We all want to have lives we believe in. That's what we're hungry for. We don't really care if a new phone or a new pair of jeans or a new product or a new airline. What we want is we want to believe our own existence is good. And that to me, I went, aha, that is what marketing is. Finding things for people to believe in, including ourselves. That's all it is. And so I do another cartoon. It just said, quality isn't job one. Being totally fucking amazing is job one. You know, it's like, I don't want somebody to say to me after I get out of college, oh yeah, I like your resume, you want to come in for an interview. I want somebody to say, I think you're totally fucking amazing, can I have your babies? Because I think, you know, because that's what you're competing against, is real things, real people, real loves, real desires. You're not just another name in a stack of resumes, a bunch of graphs, a bunch of grades on an Excel spreadsheet, or else if you are, God help you. So anyways, I started writing all these marketing cartoons, writing about I'm a cartoonist, so I spent a long time in marketing, so I kind of like hit the sweet spot where the two intersect. So I started drawing cartoons and using the internet, hello, I started making art prints and selling them online. I have a newsletter. It goes out to 30,000 people a day. It has a cartoon. If you like the cartoon, you know, it sells a print. You know, it sells a print. You know, people buy my stuff, and that's how I make a living, really. And what happens is people buy a lot of them. This is a firm in Norway. They're a small design firm, and they have what's called a Hugh corner, where they have all my work, and then you go sit there and kind of like go there just to think. Because apparently my work's very good to have around when you want to think. And so I came up with this idea: business needs more art. Business needs more art. So I'm thinking, you know, I was going to art galleries in my 20s all the time, and I thought, wow, these places are really boring. And I always like doing art for offices. But I had this idea that more art equals more inspiration. More inspiration means more creativity. More creativity means more innovation. More innovation equals more profits. More profits equals more art, you see. So all of a sudden, what I'm trying to do, or what we have, me and my business partner, we have done, we're owning office art. We want to make really cool art for really cool companies doing really cool business, making really cool products. We don't bother with museums, we don't bother with art galleries. We want to own the office stuff. Here's what I did for TechCrunch, which is like a big technology blog. Startup culture, which is like, anybody here have a startup? Or want to have a startup? Ah, there we go. Good. Need the future. Pay attention. Here's one t-shirt we did. It just says mediocrity can be squeezed. No, mediocrity can be squeezed, genius can't. Because that's what's going to happen to you once you leave this lovely college. You're going to get out and get a marketing job, and people are going to squeeze you, like that toothpaste. And the only question is for how long. At least being squeezed you get when you're young is you have a tremendous education. And the problem is after 10 years of that, how will you survive? Here's some pirate t-shirts I did for a company. See? We basically do, I do cartoons for business. That's my greatest joy. Here's a fanboy. He's got all three of my books, and then a t-shirt, and then this metal print, 48 inches by 48 inches, says, "That's why we're here, to make a dent in the universe." Anybody ever bought a pair of shoes from Zappos? Zappos.com? No? Yeah, he's a client of mine. He buys my art. Tony Shea, the CEO, he buys my art, and he has his stuff up in his office. I should get you a photograph of that. Houston, we have a problem. This one's San Antonio, Texas, a company called Rackspace. They do web hosting. They're very proud of the fact they were fanatical in the customer service. So I wrote this one that said fanatical. Kiss any hope of ever leading a normal life goodbye. In other words, don't expect to be normal if you're going to work here. Expect to be abnormal in a good way. That's in their customer relations room. So when you go to the Rackspace, that's the first thing you see when they sit you down. Marketing people, who reads? Anyone here ever heard of Seth Godin? Purple Cow, Seth Godin? Nobody? Seth Godin? That's his office. That's his office. That's my work. He has a Hugh Corner, one of the famous marketing writers in America. Collects my work. He taught me everything. He taught me a lot of what I know about why we are actually in marketing. I mean, why are we in marketing? Here, let me ask somebody. Sir, why are you in marketing? Tell the class. Why are you? Why are you in marketing?
Marketing, tenemos ciertas cualidades personales y conocimientos que más tiempo que da como resultado de marketing.
What did you say?
He said that he has some personal qualities and knowledge that he feels that would make him a good marketing person.
Why are you in marketing? Okay. Why are we in marketing, really? Anyway. There's a famous company in San Francisco called TechCrunch. And that's their wall of Hugh as well. See, they collect my work. And that's what I want to do. That's how I make my living. I find offices and I fill their walls with different kinds of prints and everything. And it's a pretty good life. This one is one I did for a military contractor called NAV6. And they had they were making this big airship for the U.S. Army. Not the Army, the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force. And they canceled the project, and they were really pissed off about it. So I made this t-shirt that just said, and the name of the airship was the Blue Devil 2. And I wrote this t-shirt that said, if we ever lose a war, it'll be for the same reasons we lost the Blue Devil 2. In other words, bureaucracy. This is, anybody here read Wired magazine? Yeah, this cartoon I did for Wired about the new iPhone, now that Steve Jobs is dead. This guy's going, it's not here. He goes, they must have moved the street. Apple can't be wrong. Okay, this is what I did for July 4th, which is the American national holiday. And here's the American flag. And it says, a nation is only as good as its startup culture. In other words, in my mind, what's going to make a culture successful is how easy it is, like for a kid like you or you, right out of school or even at university, to be able to start his own business, his own startup, and make it a world-class company while still not flunking his grades. I mean, that's what Microsoft did. That's what Apple did. That's what Facebook did. They started off they borrowed some space out of their parents' garages and made these billion-dollar businesses. They didn't wait for the corporation to give them a job. This is what I did for Cisco, the big server company. Just lots of cartoons on a single space, all about the cloud, the internet. I won't tell you about that too much. This is what I did for Rackspace, and they have this idea of small teams, big impact. In other words, they want to make technical solutions for small companies or small teams inside big companies that have huge impacts. A good example is Facebook, which only has which was really small until quite recently. And this idea of what does it mean to not go work for the government or not go work for IBM, but actually to work in a small, tiny office with 600 people. Instagram, 15 employees. And it said, if we didn't think we were going to change the world, we wouldn't be here. Why do people go work for startups? Here's some more of my work at a trade show. This one for Babson College. A college like this, a bit like yourself, except it's in Massachusetts, near Boston in America. Small private college teaches entrepreneurship. They're very proud of their entrepreneur program. This is what I did for Hewlett Packard about network security. It just said, this was for a convention that they are having, a show they're having. I can tell you why I'm here, then I have to kill you. Anyways, that's enough about me. Let's talk about the talk, why I'm here. Here. That's the work. All right. You got three things. When I grew up in Scotland, Scotland's a small country. I went to a small school, like here, in a small town, like here, in a small country, like here. You've got the internet, you've got television, you got the United States, it's right that way, you got South America, right that way. It's a big world. You know that, because you got the internet now. San Domingo, I love San Domingo, but it's a small town, you know? You've done okay, you made it all the way here. You made it through high school without being killed. You made it through college without being killed. Who's going to graduate in less than 2 years? Okay, see? Who's going to graduate in less than 4 years? Yeah, most of it. Yeah, there you go. That's what everybody's scared of. What if I suck? That's the question I asked myself my last year of college. I wasn't scared of graduating. I wasn't scared of the world. I was scared of sucking. I didn't want to suck. Sucking sucks. Slide's not working at all. See, young people like yourself, you're not afraid of not succeeding. You're scared of sucking. You're scared of life sucking. Life's great right now. You're in college. Hey, parties. But what if I suck? That's what I was scared of when I was in school. You see, success. Who wants to be successful when they graduate? Right. Well, see, Success actually is fairly easy, you know? Success isn't rocket science. Oh, the slide's wrong. Success is work hard, have a great product, be nice, and don't suck. Learning how to not suck actually is way harder than learning how to be successful. Being successful is just doing the work. To be successful, first you have to learn how to not suck. If you suck, you're fucked. Pardon my French. So my talk today is the art of not sucking. Because you know what? You guys study all day, all these teachers telling you how to study and how to do some work and teach all about marketing and teach all about that kind of stuff. You're sick of marketing. You don't want to learn how to learn more about marketing. So I thought, if I can help you not suck and get out there in the real world, that would be much more useful to you and interesting than just telling you about marketing. Oh boy. Slide's not working. No, I don't know. It's not reading the script, that's all. Oh well. Okay. Right. Not sucking, to me, has 4 parts to it, okay? The first part is creativity. You can't read it, but it's creativity. You have to learn how to create, you have to learn how to invent. The second part is why you're here, marketing. Because if you create something great and you don't learn how to market it, you're going to get in trouble. 3, what I call mastery. Being the best in the world or pretty damn close at what you do. Transcending mediocrity. Actually becoming good at something in a global sense as opposed to just one more schmuck waiting for a job interview. And then the fourth one, which you can't read, is meaning. What does it all mean? Does this matter? Am I just working for money, or is my life part of something important, part of something meaningful, part of something loving? And I think those are the 4 things you have to do in order not to suck. The first one, creativity. This is my department. I'm a cartoonist. So, something I thought my first book was all about this. Creativity, huh? Find your own Mount Everest. Sorry, those slides are gone. Find your own Mount Everest and then climb it. So I would suggest to you all that in the back of your mind, there's something you want to do besides get a college degree. There's something you want to do with your life besides have sex, drink alcohol, and make money for somebody else. But something about, like, maybe it's in the back of your mind you want to have your own company. Maybe in the back of your mind you want to learn how to play violin. But something about you that nobody else can do that scares you because you haven't found it yet. That special thing. For me, it was being a cartoonist. And not just, like, drawing silly cartoons. I wanted to be a world-class cartoonist. I wanted to be as good as the greats. I wanted to be as good as Saul Steinberg. I wanted to be as good as, Charles Schultz. I wanted to be as good as Ralph Steadman. I wanted to be world-class good. I didn't just want to be the guy in class everybody liked. I wanted to be world-class. And it terrified me that I couldn't be. What if I sucked? The thing is, the only real way to be successful, and we all want to be successful, We can't just turn up. We have to learn to invent things. And I don't mean just like a new computer or a new invent penicillin or new something, but maybe invent a new way of doing your job at work. This idea, learn how to be inventive. Learn how to, whatever job it is, whether you're selling Yanni Kege by the road, or whether you're selling software for HP, or whether you're opening a restaurant. Chef Pentina in the house. Hola, my future father-in-law. Be nice to him, huh? So, the best work I did in college, I received a grade for. I invented something. This one is, don't wait for somebody else to tell you what to do. My mother was a very successful consultant, technology consultant. And she used to hire a lot of college graduates out of Harvard and Oxford and Cambridge. And she has a thing called the briefcase mentality, where these bright young kids would turn up wearing a suit and tie, carrying a briefcase, and she'd kind of go, "Why are you here?" She goes, "Well, I want a job." "Well, why do you want a job?" Because so I can be important. So I can have important stuff in my briefcase and take it home and do important briefcase work. And my mother would look at it and go, well, yeah, but what are you actually going to do? "I have no idea, but I want to be important." She used to call it the briefcase mentality, where people just feel they can just turn up with a briefcase and a nice shirt and a nice tie, be told what to do, and be successful. It doesn't work that way. The world does not work that way. The world wants you to invent something. You come work for me, I'm going to ask you, what can you do? What can you do? And then I'm going to expect you to do it. And then I'm going to pay you. That's the way the world works. And to be able to do that, you have to be able to invent stuff that I don't think myself. That's the only way to be successful, really. Oops. This is the second one. This is probably my favorite chapter of my first book. It said, good ideas have lonely childhoods. In other words, when you invent an idea, chances are people are going to hate it. People are going to hate your idea. People hated my idea. Cartoons in the back of business cards. That was dumb. What a dumb idea. Yes, but 10 years later, it made me a millionaire. Cool. Guess what that's done after all? The thing is, when you write your first grade novel, everyone's going to hate it. When you invent your first grade computer, everyone's going to hate it. And then what happens is eventually your product gets traction, and then you're rich and famous, and everybody loves you. But the great ideas always start off with a very lonely phase, and that's normal. Again, don't wait to be discovered. As somebody with a background in the arts business, I always thought if you're an artist like me, the way to be successful is wait for some guy in New York to discover your work, make you famous, like a musician. You know, sign on the dotted line here, boy, will make you a star. And with the internet, that doesn't happen anymore. What you do is you make your music, you make your art, you make your thing. People dig it. I think when you're young, I think you spend a lot of time waiting around for older people to give you validation. But what if that validation never comes? I just assumed I would never get the validation for my work. Therefore, I just had to do it myself. So I did. This one's really important, especially if you work for the government. Avoid the water cooler gang. What's going to happen if you get a job with a big company? Who wants to work for a big company when they graduate? Okay. Well, what's going to happen when you get a big company is There's going to be people who actually make things happen, and they're going to be about like 20% of the company, and the rest of the 80% are just people who sit around and complain. And they hang out by the water cooler and bitch about the company gossip. Who's been promoted, who's been demoted, who's sleeping with who's getting married, who's a sociopath, who's a psychopath, who's a loser, who's nice, who's mean, and all that same kind of crap you have in high school or college. Except they're old now, not so kind of pathetic. And my advice is to you to find out who these people are and avoid them. Don't be friends with them, really. They'll find a way to bring you down. Know where your red line is. This is really important, especially for anybody who aspires to one day do something creative with their life. Who here wants to do something creative with their life? Right. Well, see, to me, I wanted to be an artist when I was a kid. But I got a job in advertising, which is pretty loathsome. But I thought, hey, you know what? I don't mind writing TV commercials because, hey, at least I'll get an education. But after a while, I got sick of it. I don't want to write commercials anymore. You have to understand what you're willing to do for money and what you're not willing to do for money. Because if you know that, then you won't spend the next 20 years sucking. You'll say, well, no, I don't want to do that because I'll be unhappy. Because happiness is like a really big part of this equation. Now that you're alive, and you have another 60 years to kill before you die. Happiness is a big part of the game. So know where the line is that you want to step over. And you'll save yourself a lot of trouble. W.B. Yeats, who's a great poet. Be secret and exalt. In other words, the thing that's going to make you rich and famous and successful, in the beginning, no one is going to know about it. It'll be just you and your secret project. One day, it'll be successful, not so secret. But understand that anything interesting that ever happens in secret. People, when famous authors are writing their great books, they're not famous by then. They're like unknown. They're living in some poor, shitty neighborhood with their typewriter, or they're working in their garage on the next billion-dollar company that no one's ever heard of them. You only get famous or rich or successful after the fact, and just to understand that the lonely isolation is part of the rite of passage, and that's okay. In fact, savor obscurity while it lasts, because that's when you have the most creative freedom in what you do. That's what W.B. Yeats meant. Marketing. Who here studies marketing? Oh, great. Yeah, I think marketing is important, don't you? Yeah, I mean, people say, oh, you're doing when you want a job after you graduate. Dude, you're going to get paid. All my cool friends, they're bands. They're artists, but you want a job in marketing. And I always thought to myself, actually, I think marketing is actually pretty darn important, because if you have a great product, or not even a product, but a great movement, or something worth doing, well, of course you want other people to know about it. And I think I think a lot of creative people think, well, I don't do marketing. I think marketing is for like squares or pussies or whoever. Or, frat boys, or, guys in suits. My cool friends, we didn't know. But actually, marketing is really fundamental to everything we do. It's really hard to make something if you can't sell it afterwards. So understand that marketing is one of our most, every time a president runs for election, that's marketing. Every time Steve Jobs appears, well, he's dead now, but every time Steve Jobs appears on the stage, he's marketing. Every time your favorite rock band turns up in Santo Domingo, That's marketing. Bringing the thing to the people. That's what being a rock star is. Lady Gaga, when she flies down from New York to here, that is marketing. She's bringing it to the people. The thing is, marketing isn't a job. Marketing is not about having a nice suit, and a nice resume, and a nice tie, and nice parents, a nice office, and then doing what you're told. Marketing is like something you have to learn how to put your whole self into. That's what marketing is. That's what art is. Doing stuff that matters. You cannot market unless this stuff matters to you. So when you approach your marketing careers, ask yourself what actually matters, because that's the only thing that's going to make you successful. Oops. That says, if you can't lead, you can't succeed. Whether you're the boss of a large company or not, whether you're the boss, if you want to be successful, you have to learn how to lead a team. Small team or an army. You have to put yourself out there and go. You have to be able to bring the team where you want to go. Anybody, never mind, there's a famous Russian general who fought Napoleon 200 years ago. His name was General Kuznetsov. He ate the same rations as the soldiers. He ate the same food as the privates, the soldiers in his army. Because he wanted to know, he wanted to know what his soldiers were eating. So he knew how much he could push them. But he also was giving the soldiers a message. I'm on the same team as you guys. I'm fighting the same war as you. In the American Civil War, they used to have this phrase called a rich man's fight. No, a rich man's war, but a poor man's fight. In other words, the rich guys in Washington all started the war, but all the farm boys had to do the fighting and dying. And you look at somebody like a really famous marketer like Steve Jobs and Apple. He loves computers, and he loves really well-designed computers. Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, he loves coffee, and he goes, hey guys, wouldn't it be great if everybody could drink coffee at Starbucks? Or McDonald's. McDonald's used to be very good at the time. Learn about leadership. Learn that your success totally revolves around your ability to get other people as excited about whatever it is you're excited about. Being able to transfer excitement. Sorry. This is kind of like leadership. It says, treat it like an adventure worth sharing. See, what I do with this is why I love blogging. What I do with my blog is I tell everybody what I'm doing. And what I'm trying to do with my business, and the art I'm making, and the things I'm trying to achieve with it. And everybody gets excited. If I have other people getting excited about it, they buy my work. They're not art collectors. They just want some, they just like what I do, and so they want to support it. You're being able to, besides falling in love and having children, being able to do something you really love and make it happen and bring it to fruition is one of the great adventures. So instead of saying to people, here's why you should buy my product, only 50%, 50% cheaper than anybody else, you kind of say, well, this is why I'm doing it. This is why it's exciting. This is why it's important. This is why it matters. I matter. You matter. Everything matters. Let's make it matter together. Well, that's leadership. Okay. Never mind. That is a guy called Doc Searles who wrote this great thing called Clue Train 10 years ago. Markets are conversations. Remember that. Markets are conversations. Markets are people coming together and talking and things getting exchanged. cluetrain.com. Look that up. It was the first in marketing terms, it was the first website that talked about how the internet actually works, not how the journalists and the politicians tell you how it works. And his idea was saying, well, the way marketing works is people come together and they talk like people. And what the internet is a set of protocols that allow people to talk. And what the big mistake of the marketers and what they do is instead of letting people talk to each other, they start talking. They just start like talk. How many times do you listen to a commercial that's like really bad? You know? That's not how business is done. Business is done by people saying, well, I like computers. Oh, you like computers? Well, I make computers. And that's what made the internet so important. All of a sudden it became more, it made possible the idea of, well, instead of like selling to people, I just talk to people and find out what their needs are, and they buy from me. cluetrain.com. Another one, create snowballs. Sorry, this typography is not working. Doc Searle said a great thing. He said, when I was in traditional marketing before the internet, it was like Sisyphus pushing a big rock up a hill. I was trying to like have this big marketing campaign that I had to get right, that couldn't fail, that I had to like get results. And it's like this big rock I had to keep pushing along. And I hated every last day of that, you see. Because marketing that kind of way, where you have this big project, your boss is just giving you like a lot of money, and now you have to justify it, and it's going to be big, spectacular. That's horrible. And what he said, well, what I did instead of pushing a big rock up a hill now, I just create snowballs. I make a little snowball and I roll it down the hill. And sometimes the snowball works and it gets big, and sometimes it doesn't. But that's okay. I only made little snowballs. It doesn't matter. So that metaphor of the internet, where you just like put things out there really cheap and quickly and see what people say. Well, that's a lot easier than like starting off with a big marketing budget and then worrying about failure the whole time. See, to me, marketing is sharing gifts. With the internet, what I do is I make a drawing, and then I put it on the internet, and if people like the drawing, they click on a button and they buy the print. But whether they're going to buy the print or not doesn't matter. They can still have the drawing. The real value of the drawing is in the message. So I've already given the gift, you see. And this is what a lot of really good bloggers do, right? Is let's say they're a really good lawyer or something. Well, they write a blog, giving away a lot of free advice about law or dentistry or whatever it is they're in. And then they acquire a fan base, and then anytime the fan base needs their service, like a lawyer or whatever, they go, okay, I like this guy, I read his blog, okay, I'll buy from him. And well, the best kind of marketing to me is when you send out gifts into the universe, and people share them, and then every 1% of them buy something. That's okay. But the real value comes from giving a gift. That's where your name is made. Oh, sorry. That social objects are the secret of marketing. Social objects are the secret of marketing. You see, does anybody here have an Apple phone? Okay. Stand up, please. Yeah, you stand up. Okay. Now, when you have your Apple phone, and what do people do?
What do people do?
Cool phone, didn't they?
And then what would happen? They saw your phone, they went, cool, and they had Apple phones themselves. They go, cool phone. And you go, well, what apps do you have, right? And you go, wow, I got these apps, right? And you got those apps, right? And you go, apps, wow, cool. Oh yeah, let's hug. Let's hang out, right? See? Gang's done. Right. All right. That's how marketing actually works. The phone is not, let me see your phone, please. What makes this interesting isn't the phone. What makes it interesting is you and your friends are kind of like socializing. Where'd you get the app? Oh, where'd you get the phone? How much it cost you? The human dynamic around a product is what makes a product interesting, how it affects human behavior. The social object. See? Now here's one. It's got a panda on the back. Where'd you get the panda from? Where'd you get the panda from? You like pandas? I like pandas. Yeah. See, we're socially hardwired to be sociable. What makes products interesting is the way it affects our relations with other human beings. The object in the middle, the phone or the panda or whatever, that doesn't matter. What matters are other human beings and how we relate to them. And who has Facebook? Okay, who posts photographs on Facebook? Okay, who's closest? Photograph? Alright. Speak English? Okay, you. Okay, you don't have to. Okay. Alright, you posted a photograph.